Hey there everybody, welcome back to the 4-String Strum of the channel. It's all about, you guessed it, ukuleles. Today we're going to be taking a look at chord transition, how you can switch from one chord to the next more easily, more smoothly, and also how you can move your chords around on the fretboard to give yourself a different sound. And we're going to talk a little bit about some strumming techniques that might just kind of put a little different accent on things for you. All right, we got lots to cover, so let's get into it. All right, so to go over this, I dug out an old song that we used to play when we were kids called Rich Man's Spiritual, or we used to call it Long White Robe. It was written by Gordon Lightfoot, and we used to sing this one. This was one of the first songs we ever learned how to play back in the early 70s. And it goes like this. It's a really sort of a famous chord progression that's used in a lot of old folk music and rock and roll. It's just C, A minor, F, and G7. Okay, so here's how it goes. There's a C7 in there and another chord that we'll get into in a minute as well, but this is the meat of the song. Starts in C. Gonna buy me a minor, long white robe, F. Yes, Lord, G7, when I get home, back to C. Gonna buy me a long white robe, F. Yes, Lord, G7, when I get home, and when I get my heavenly C7. You go to F, lay my burden down, G sharp, and I'll show you that one in a minute. I'm gonna, and then you just go back to get me C, A minor, long white robe, F, G7, when I get home. Okay, and that's the entire song. Now let's talk about that G sharp that I kind of quickly slid past. All right, we're going to talk about movable chord shapes briefly now. Here we go. All right, so I can hear your bar chord alarms going off as I was doing this. Let me just show you, because you're right, we're going to get into some bar chords, but what I'm going to show you is how movable shapes work, and I'm going to show you a way around kind of bar chords, so kind of a little bit of a quasi-cheater sort of way to play this. Okay, so we'll start back to the C. Gonna get my heavenly gown, back to C7. I'm gonna go to F. I'm gonna lay my burden down. Okay, so we're playing this as a G7. It's, G sharp, and this is at the 3rd fret. So if you look at this chord, really all this is an F, right? If we're playing our F here, we're essentially just sliding it up to here and then putting a bar in front of it. Okay, so this goes F, F sharp, G, G sharp. All right, so you can play it this way, and don't be afraid of bar chords, folks. Just work on it. The more that you play around with these things, the stronger your hand's going to get and the more clear they're going to sound. Again, the trick is get your thumb in behind there to give you a good position for squeezing and getting extra strength. Okay, so again, that's one way you can play this. It goes from F, F sharp, G, G sharp. Okay, so it's just that same chord, you're just moving it up. Now you could also do this here. If you're used to playing your G here, which most of us are, right, regular G chord, well, you could move it up here. All of a sudden you got G sharp, right? But what about this top string? Okay, so technically this top string should be covered and you should be playing it like that. Nobody's going to, because that's a hateful looking chord. So what I do sometimes is I just mute that. I just kind of hang my thumb over the top and you don't hear that top string. Okay, so if you want a quick and easy way to do it, just slide it up and cover it up. That's how I play the E flat and all that stuff too, lots of times, is I'll just play these, right? If you think about it, it's the same thing. You've got your D, E flat, E, right? And then all I do is I kind of hang my hand. You can just give yourself a little extra hangover here, the good kind, over that first string, and it deadens it. Okay, so don't be afraid of these little things, especially where it's just for a quick couple of, like maybe a quick strum or two here and there. On this song, burden down, you just like punching it like once or twice. You're not hanging around for a long time, so it doesn't really matter. And you can use these little kind of quick cheater techniques to help you out. All right, let's go through some strumming now, and I'll show you a couple different options and how you can pull a little bit of accent out of it. Okay, here we go. So for strumming on this, let's talk about a couple of different levels that you can use depending on where you're at. If you're a straight beginner, I would suggest using our paintbrush strum. So paintbrush, just hit with your thumb on the top string and you brush it with your fingers. Those of you that have been around, you've heard about this. If you're new here, that's how it goes. You just hit that top string with your thumb and then you brush with your finger, just like that. Gonna buy me a poor man's troubles, yes Lord, when I get home. Okay, you can play the entire song just with that one strum. If you want to take it up a notch, you can go to our next strum, which is the sledgehammer. And sledgehammer is very similar. You hit it with your thumb again, same thing, you brush it down, but then you come back up with your thumb. So it's sledge, hammer, sledge, hammer, just like that, okay? And this will add a little variety. You can mix the two different strums together, paintbrush and sledgehammer, and it'll sound like this. Gonna buy me a long wide road, yes Lord, when I get home. Okay, you can mix and match it as you see fit. Again, just adds a little bit of variety to your sound. So the other one that you can do here, if you want to keep going up, is you could use a double strum or a finger drag. So double strum basically just goes like this. It's just down, up, okay? Down, up, down, up. Now I do this with my thumb. My finger comes up, my finger goes down, and my thumb comes up. So it's thumb, finger, finger, thumb. Thumb, finger, finger, thumb. Okay, so let me show you this. You can hear how I'm just mixing them up. Okay, so again, just throw that in there as a different little accent kind of a thing. The other one that you can do is just what I call a finger drag. And it essentially is just like a double strum, except you don't bring your thumb back up at the end. Okay, so it goes like this. So all you're doing is you're adding an extra finger into a paintbrush, if you want to look at it that way. So if this is your paintbrush, before you do the brush, you do a drag. You just kind of drag your finger back up. So where sledgehammer puts the accent on the second half of the strum, sledge, hammer, this is sort of like hammer sledge or something. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but I call it a finger drag. Okay? So all you're doing is you're hitting it with your thumb, finger comes up, finger goes down. All right, so you can throw that in too every once in a while, just like this. So paintbrush, finger drag, paintbrush, finger drag, paintbrush, finger drag, okay? Gonna buy me a long wide road, yes Lord, to get me home. Okay, so again, just mix and match however you see fit. Let's talk a little bit now also about chord transition and how you can set yourself up for smoother, quicker chord changes. All right, let's look at it. For chord transitions to be smooth, it's always good to set yourself up for the next chord. So while you're playing one chord, you want to be thinking about what's coming next. And I know if you're not there yet, don't worry about it. People think, oh my God, I'm still worried about the chord that I'm on. I hear you. But this is what you want to shoot for, okay? And this is where you want to slow things down. If you're learning a song, don't try and play it at full speed. Play it like at slow speed. And that gives you time to think about the next chord and where you want to position your fingers. Okay, so let's look at this song. So you're starting here with your C, right? So automatically, your hand is kind of set like this. You're already almost set for the A minor, okay? So some people play A minor with their first finger. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, except when we're talking about setting ourselves up for the next chord, you're better to use your second finger here, and here's why. It's basically right there anyway, and then all you're going to do is you just kind of rotate your wrist. A lot of chord transition comes down to your wrist rotation. People worry so much about their fingers, but they forget about the wrist and where it is here, because this makes a huge difference in your ability to play chords and to be able to transition them. Okay, so we're here. All you're going to do is just slightly rotate your wrist and drop your second finger there, okay, on the top string, on the second fret. Again, so we're here. Your finger's pretty close to that fourth string. You just rotate a little bit, and you can see it just moves your finger right over top of the string that you need. All right, so now we're here. We're going to go to F next. This finger is going to stay where it is, right? So all you need to do now is have this finger ready to go. And all I'm going to do is rotate my wrist a little bit more, and it puts that finger right over the string that it needs to be on. You see how it works? Look, I'm here, I'm here. Let's go back to C. So we're C, we rotate a little bit with the wrist, we go up to the A minor, we rotate it even a little bit more, we go to the F. Now G7, if you look at my fingers right now, they're in position pretty much for a G7, right? All I got to do is drop them down a little bit. Okay, it's got that sort of a shape to it. All I do now is I pivot my wrist, and I'm just going to basically pivot here on this first finger. Look. So it's just that wrist rotation again, right? I'm here. This finger's not touching anything. And then I just pivot and boof. There it is. Boof. How do you like that for a fancy musical term, right? All I need to do now is slide my third finger up. It's already in place on that first string, and I just slide. Okay, so it's slide, pivot a little, drop the second finger, pivot a little more, drop the first finger, pivot the other direction, drop them down, and then slide it on up. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that you need to look for when you're transitioning your chords. What's coming up next? And you try to stay that little bit ahead of where you are. If you can't, you're playing too quickly. All right, so that's where you need to slow it right down. You need to be this far ahead of the song. It's like driving a car. You don't want to be looking right over the front of the hood. You want to look down the road a little bit further. Okay? You've got to get yourself a little bit ahead of where you are in the song with your hands. Okay? All right. Let's have a little chat about this week's ukulele. All right, folks. This week's ukulele comes from our friends at Anui Nui. This is the Anui Nui Hawaiian Koa. Look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? I'll just give you a quick look at it here. Beautiful abalone. Gloss finish. Just gorgeous. Just a nice quick look. Slotted headstock. Beautiful inlay. Fluorocarbon strings on it. Ain't she purty? Have a look at our website, www.fourstringstrummer.ca, for more information on this and all the ukuleles that we have in stock. All right, let's get into the tune. Gonna buy me a long white robe, yes, Lord, to get me home. Gonna buy me a long white robe, yes, Lord, when I get home. And when I get my heavenly gown, gonna lay my burden down. Gonna get me a long white robe when I get home. Gonna get me two golden slippers, yes, Lord, to walk me home. Gonna get me two golden slippers, yes, Lord, to walk me home. When I get my slippers of gold, well, the Lord will have my soul. I'm gonna get me two golden slippers to lead me home. Gonna get me a poor man's troubles, yes, Lord, when I get home. Gonna buy me a poor man's troubles, yes, Lord, when I get home. And when I get my troubles and woe, well, it's homeward I will go. Gonna get me a poor man's troubles when I get home. Gonna get me a smiling angel, yes, Lord, to lead me home. Gonna get me a smiling angel, yes, Lord, to lead me home. And when she takes me by the hand, I know the Lord will understand. I'm gonna get me a smiling angel to get me home. So I hope those little tips and techniques help you out, and nothing finer than a good old Gordon Lightfoot tune to go along with it. Folks, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, really helps me out. Also, join us on our Facebook group, the 4-String Strummers. Lots of nice folks there to interact with. And if you have any questions at all, as always, drop it down into the comments section. I'm always more than happy to help you out. All right, till we see you next time, folks, keep smiling, keep strumming, and have fun. Maybe with one of these videos right over here. Bye for now.